Hello and welcome to another edition of the Twin Cities Real Estate Pros podcast. We are the Imperial Home Team, all licensed with RE/MAX Advantage Plus. My name is Ron Johnson, licensed real estate agent in Minnesota with RE/MAX Advantage Plus. David Nelson, also licensed with RE/MAX Advantage Plus. We should let people know that we have to say that legally.
Yes.
Although we'd love you to know about our brokerage, we have to let you know that we are licensed with RE/MAX Advantage Plus and not our own real estate entity, so that's why we have to say that a million times throughout the show.
Right, we're just making sure the Department of Commerce hears that. So,
we got to get that part out of the way. On the show today, we're going to talk about staging, which will really help sellers. And if you don't know what staging is, basically when you have your house listed or you're getting ready to have your house listed, where you should have your furniture, pictures, artwork, different things like that, which, as you know, David, can be really helpful.
Very much.
With what buyers will see when they come into your house.
Yes.
Okay, so that's something we'll talk about. Jill O'Gorman is here. She's from Ravishing Rooms. She's a stager, someone I know you've worked closely with. We also have Tom Wambacher over there. He's also a licensed real estate agent with RE/MAX Advantage Plus. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you.
Morning, Tom.
All right, now we're going to get into Tom first, and you're going to talk about what you have coming up in Eagan.
I have a beautiful new listing in Eagan coming up. It was built in 2002. It's a 5-bedroom, 2-story home, 4 bedrooms on one level. It's actually only a block away from Red Pine Elementary, so if you've got a young family that you're bringing up, this is a perfect area for them. They've got beautiful new granite in the kitchen that they just put in, and actually the basement is outstanding for entertaining. They have a huge area for a pool table. They've got a fantastic bar with a big wine room in it. And
Fantastic?
Fantastic.
Wow.
Believe me, it's good. It's good. Don't let my wife see that, by the way. No, it's a beautiful house. It's not on the market yet. We're ready to show, so if you want to get a private showing of it right now, just give me a call. You can reach me at 952-381-4355. I'd be happy to set up a private showing for you. We do expect it to actually go on the market and get a lot of traffic within about a week and a half now. So.
Wow. If somebody wants to check out some pictures, do you have pictures online? Or do you
I will have pictures coming online in a couple days, yeah.
Okay, and they can find those.
They can find those on, where can we find them? ImperialHomeTeam.com.
Yeah, well, it'll be on our Zillow page, too.
And
we'll,
the Zillow page,
on the bottom of the blog here, we'll have a link to it. So they can
Outstanding.
click on it and check out all the pictures, and pricing, address, all that fun stuff.
Perfect.
All right, and David, why don't you talk about that a little bit, because that's one of the things our team really prides itself on, are these pre-market listings, the things that come on before they actually are on the MLS, in some ways that we promote people's properties.
Correct. Yeah, since it is a seller's market, homes are selling very quickly. So, while somebody is out getting the house ready to, talking with Jill, getting the house staged and all that other stuff ready, we have the ability to market the home. And we are a premier agent, excuse me.
We talked about the Department of Commerce and the difference there, so
Yes,
be careful.
just clarifying. We're agents, real estate agents, with Zillow. And that way we can actually put our listings on Zillow, the #1 real estate website, probably in the world. And it's getting exposure of your house that's not for sale yet, but you're getting it seen by thousands and thousands and thousands of buyers. So I use the analogy, I'm a huge movie buff, and surprise, surprise, I like Star Wars. So I knew the Star Wars movie was coming out a year in advance, and I had been seeing trailers of this movie, but I couldn't see the movie yet. So pre-listing is just like that. What we're doing, we're putting it on Zillow, we're putting it on Facebook pages, we're advertising it to our 400 plus agents that we know. So we're putting out movie trailers for the property. And then once it does hit the market, we've already have a head of steam going. So then you have a line of buyers waiting to see that property, much like Tom's property coming on, that he's already marketing it even though it's not currently for sale. So it's a pretty slick feature that we offer, and not everyone can do that.
Yeah, and this format, not everybody can do as well. We're talking about it on a podcast, so if your house is coming up, we're talking about it on a podcast. You can also look at ImperialHomeTeam.tv on YouTube. All of us are very active on Facebook, where, depending on your technological abilities, not everybody's on there. But, for example, on the buyer side, a couple of weeks ago, there was another agent who was marketing a pre-listed property in St. Louis Park. And I had reached out. Actually, no, that's not even true. It was the other way. I reached out and said,
you're
hey,
lying.
I just totally
Wow.
lied. I was trying to give somebody more credit than they deserved. But I went on this group in Facebook and said, hey, I'm looking for St. Louis Park, blah, 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 blah. An agent emailed me and said, hey, I've got that exact thing coming up. My buyer got in there before it went on the market. Nobody else ever saw it. And she got it before there was any competition for it. So being able to do these type of things for both our buyers and sellers are a really big deal.
What even the listing I talked about last time in Lakeville is coming on, I have 2 people already wanting to look at it. And the home's not even close to being ready yet because we're thinking of May 1st. But there's already that excitement being generated 2 months out. So imagine selling your house, not having to deal with showings and having to get the kids out of the house, get the pets cleaned up, keeping the house clean every day. I don't know. To me, that's invaluable.
Yeah, and having that bird in hand, right?
Yep.
Yeah, they have that buyer in there already. All right, Tom, we're going to have you get out of here, but if there's anything else that you want to say about your listing or any buyer needs that you've got coming up or anything, here's your format right here for the whole
Don't
world.
screw it up, Tom.
Actually, I've got a lot of buyers out there looking for property. In particular, I've got a buyer that's looking to come here in March from out of state, and they're trying to find a property here in Lakeville. So, anybody got anything? We're looking.
What kind of house are they looking for?
They're just looking for a 3-bedroom, 2-bath. I mean, nothing fancy. It's something that we have a ton of, but there's just, as you know, the market just is moving so fast that unless you're on it right now today, it's kind of hard to get in there. The inventory's so low, but look, I got a lot of buyer needs out there.
Sure.
And real quickly, how can someone get a hold of you either about that Egan property or some of the buyer needs?
I'm sorry, say again.
How can someone get a hold of you?
Definitely call me at 952-381-4355, or my email address is tom@imperialhometeam.com.
All right, perfect. And also TwinCitiesRealEstatePros.com will have all of our information on there.
Yep.
Perfect.
All right, Tom, so
Thanks,
I'll
guys.
just slide out, and then we'll bring in Jill. In the meantime, David, do you have anything coming on Lakeville or any of the areas that you work in?
Actually, I was contacted a couple days ago. There's going to be a townhouse coming up in Lakeville. I haven't even looked at it yet, so I can't even tell you. But be prepared. It's going to sell quickly. It's a one-owner townhouse. It's going to sell fast. So.
All right, perfect. And we talked about a listing I had coming on in Blaine that I was all excited about. It came on and it sold in 4 days. So that's a tough problem to have, I guess, if you're a real estate agent or a seller. So I can't promote that one very much, but I'm very happy that with all the pre-marketing and different things like that, we were able to get that one sold in about 4 days. So.
And do you think the pre-marketing helped that one sell?
We had a couple of showings right away. I think the house was beautiful, and it fit a particular need for some people. There's not a lot of inventory out there, and for the price point, it's a 5-bedroom house that was over 5,000 square feet, and it was reasonably priced under the list price was under about $88 per square foot.
Wow! Oh, wow!
So it was amazing value for someone. So which I guess speaks to the sellers as far as having their house ready to go and also being reasonable about the market and the price and things like that. So it all ended up working out.
I saw the pictures. Beautiful house.
Yeah. Speaking of beautiful pictures,
what a good segue.
Yeah, if you want your house to look beautiful in the photos or when people show up, it's very good to have staging. And Jill O'Gorman is here, a staging expert. So
Thank
first,
you for having me.
Yeah, we appreciate you stopping by. Just real quickly, kind of give us a real high-level view of what exactly staging is.
Okay, well, I tell everybody that there's a difference between staging your home and decorating your home. We all decorate our own house to appeal to our own style and lifestyle and taste, but when we stage your home, we're trying to appeal to the maximum amount of buyers. So making things more gender neutral. If we're trying to appeal to a younger buyer, we're not going to want some of the lacy curtains and some of the older, style that some of the older clients may have in their homes. So we're really trying to remove all that and try to, capture the most amount of buyers into the house.
And I see too, especially down Lakeville, a lot of the homes priced between $350 and $500 are competing with new construction. So when someone goes out to look at a new construction home, they see all the nice bells and whistles, all the new modern day paints and everything else. So then when they go see a pre-existing home that may be 15, 20, 30 years old, they already kind of have that frame of mind of oh, why doesn't this home look like that home? So one of the things that I do with Jill is Jill comes in as a consultation with the sellers. And I'll let kind of, what do you do?
The other thing I was going to say is, less is more when it comes to selling your home. So I usually say a good rule of thumb is to remove about a third of your things. Because,
and just jam them into the garage, right?
Well, no, neatly, trying to stack in the garage or, different places. But really we're trying to declutter, and, 95% of your searches start on the internet. So people looking at those photos right away, you'd be surprised, the amount of stuff that clutters up the room and where your eyes go to. Mm-hmm. And sometimes people will just scroll right by. So it's we want to make the space inviting, and define the space, but still be able to see the room and, the big picture window and whatever, and not looking at knickknacks and stuff that are all over your fireplace.
Yeah.
A question that I get a lot from clients is about pictures, personal pictures, and it seems like the general rule of thumb is take all personal pictures out. Some people are uncomfortable with that. Some people are okay with it. What's your opinion as far as the wedding pictures and pictures of the kids and all that kind of stuff?
My opinion is that they should go for two reasons. Number one, I always say for your privacy. I mean, especially if you have little kids and stuff, your home, it's gonna be all over the internet. We don't know who's coming, to see your house. I mean, obviously, they're with a licensed agent, but for privacy. And secondly, it's really distracting for buyers as they go through. You guys probably have had buyers go through and people start gawking at the pictures and I think I know that person, and and also we're trying to let the buyers envision the home as their home, not these people that are all over the wall. So it just makes for a smoother showing when you don't have all the personal stuff in there.
I took this one buyer at a property, and they spent more time looking at all of they had a collage of like vacation photos, and they were playing guess what the vacation was, because they're travelers too. We only have a certain amount of time in a house, and I'm thinking like, hey buyers, that's great, but let's look at the house. They were so distracted about the personal photos that they really got nothing out of the showing, and we didn't buy that property. So
no, they
missed the house.
They're trying to
basically.
figure out who
missed the
lives
house.
there and what's the situation.
And like, I think I know that person from somewhere, and they spend 45 minutes trying to determine where they know that person instead of looking at the house.
Now, I know me personally, I have a 1-year-old and a 3-year-old. So we've got baby gates, we've got toys, we've got all sorts of, just like I'm sure a lot of people out there. What do you recommend for people with young children who still have to, their kids have to be kids and kind of live their life in the house, but also have that house ready to show?
That one's tough too. I mean, I definitely say all the toys and all the stuff needs to be removed for photos. For showings, I'm okay with a little bit there, but I mean, if we have buyers that don't have kids yet and they see that all over, that's really distracting for them too. Maybe it's almost scary for them, So
Especially if they haven't had that conversation.
Or if the mother-in-law comes with.
yeah. So I mean, you want to make it that they can live, but some of my team always tells people, just box a bunch up in like totes, that you can just put in the garage or, and when you have a showing or in the, in the storage room or what, and you bring it back out for them to play in between showings.
Yeah, because it's, again too, I don't personally have kids, but I know a lot of clients have had kids, and it's a tough job to keep their house looking like it did perfectly. But kind of going back to what you said about the pictures on the photography day, if your house is going to look 100% perfect, it's got to be photography day. And I use the example of selling your home is a lot like online dating. You think of your profile photo of your online dating profile is what your house should be. You're not going to have your house looking like in shambles and a bunch of other stuff, because people are going to skim past you. Same thing with your dating profile. You want your best photo. So what I've found with Jill and Melissa, they've done an amazing job, is they will set their sellers up for extreme success. They'll tell them what to do, how to do it, and then once they've completed that list, then the photographer comes in. It's never, we don't take pictures before Jill comes in or during Jill comes in. It's when it's done 100%. Because again, photos should be taken when it's 100% ready, because that is going to be your first impression to the hordes of buyers online.
And I tell people, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I tell people, think of it as pre-packing too. I mean, you're going to have to pack up all this stuff anyways. It's less to do on the other end. Just pick out what you really need, during this next 30 days or, while it's on the market, or because we're going to sell it.
Or 4 days.
Or 4 days.
Yeah.
Or even before it hits the market. That's how we work.
What are your thoughts on the utility of a room? And what I mean by that, you'll see a 3-bedroom house with 1 bedroom used as an office, or a room that's used as a different purpose. Do you recommend anything with the utility of a room for somebody to come in there and imagine the 3 bedrooms as 3 bedrooms versus 2 bedrooms in an office, or the downstairs?
I think if
and
it's
things like
visible as it has a closet and people can see that it is a bedroom versus an office. But I think there's a large number of people that work from home these days too that like to see an option of an office space or whatnot. So I'm not particularly partial to either way, unless it's a weird shaped room or small, or it all depends on what they put in there, I guess. Every situation's different.
Yeah. So, and then kind of going along the same lines, so what about vacant houses? I know that's a big thing, especially like new construction. We're not seeing very many foreclosures and short sales, but a lot of people maybe have sold their house, moved out of state, et cetera, What are your thoughts on vacant houses? How do they compare to like a staged house, or maybe some feedback on that would be great.
Well, vacant homes are definitely harder to sell. I mean, it really, I would say largely people buy on emotion, and so you have no emotion when it's just empty carpet and walls and whatnot. Because a lot of people have a tough time envisioning what that will look like with their furniture and everything in there. And that's why staging has become so prevalent, is we've done that for you,
Yeah.
So, yes, I'm a 100% believer that staged homes sell quicker, and you'll get more traffic. Again, back to the internet, you've got photos with a bunch of empty rooms. People are going to just be like, zoop, flip right through.
And also, too, if you see photos of an empty house, even though it may not be a short sale foreclosure, it kind of has that perceived notion of like, oh, must be bank owned, even though the sellers just happen to move out of
It
state.
seems cold.
Yes.
And when I'm talking to my buyers, I'm like, okay, well, this house is empty, so they're obviously gone, so they need to sell it.
Right.
Because they're not there anymore and they've kind of moved on. Sometimes you kind of can figure out maybe sometimes if they've moved on to their next house, or if it seems like they might still be there, then maybe they're not as in a hurry to get rid of it. So yeah, that's definitely a different feel when you walk into some of those empty houses versus a house that looks lived in.
Well, and then talking about too the buyers, we take buyers around all the time, and it's amazing. You walk into an empty house, and it's hard on myself. I'm first to admit it. I'm terrible at it. You walk into a bedroom, and you can kind of see like, how will my couch fit? How will the bed fit? There was one property I sold that was vacant, and it was a massive bedroom, and they had huge king size furniture, and I had these buyers coming in through an open house, and they were questioning if their queen bed could fit in there. And luckily, it still had the carpet indentations of the king bed. I'm like, yeah, you're gonna have plenty of room. You could actually have a gym set in there if you wanted to. But it's just that the staging I found is so important that it'll kind of leads buyers and shows them like, yeah, your couch can fit in there. This is how your room could look. And again, pulling on that emotion, it's fantastic.
Yeah, to kind of reset, we're talking to Jill O'Gorman. She's from Ravishing Rooms, a stager, can help sellers really get their house looking really good for showings and also for pictures. And I guess we should probably define a little bit more what you do. You come in, do a consultation in a house that's lived in, and then we talked a little bit about some of the empty houses. So you can provide the furniture and things like that.
Yeah,
for
well,
the
we
homes.
provide several different services. One of them is just consulting, where we'll go into a home that's occupied by the homeowner, and we will just go through the home room by room and kind of create a checklist for them. Remove this, let's move your couch over here, I think you maybe should paint, here's a paint color, just whatever they need. We go through curb appeal, everything, and type it up, send it to them, and then those buyers or those homeowners complete the list and then contact their agent for photos.
Hopefully complete the list.
Yes, hopefully is the keyword.
Because it's not a must-do. It's, hey, maybe you should probably really do this if you like.
Or we can reduce the price.
Yeah, and then go through what you do with a vacant home.
Yes, and then we also own all our own furniture. We are capable of staging vacant homes too. We'll bring in all the furniture, set it all up, just like a model home. We stage new construction homes. We also do sort of remodel consultation too. So some of your homeowners that are looking to put their home on the market, but they're like, oh, I want to remodel this bathroom, or I want to do this before. I would strongly suggest contacting us or your agent before you do that, because we're going to try to make sure that you make the right choices that are going to appeal to the maximum amount of buyers, and also don't spend more money than you're really going to get back.
Yeah. I'm glad you brought up the money part, because say if someone has a relatively large home that's vacant and they want to stage it, each room obviously is going to bring that price up a little bit. Do you have tips and tricks as far as what rooms, obviously maybe the ones you're going to photograph, that you should really focus on, maybe some that you can get away with not staging?
Yeah, I mean, we try to be flexible, per the client's budget, but I mean, our recommendations typically are the main floor, because buyers make an impression about your home within 10, 11 seconds of walking in the door.
Wow.
And so, your main level, and typically we'll say, a master bedroom and bath is a good to stage as well. But, the other little bedrooms or other rooms, I'm okay with leaving vacant, because I think if we can capture them, throughout the main floor, by the time they get upstairs or downstairs, they've already made up their mind.
And then obviously you can take those would be the ones you want with the photos. Of the
Yeah,
ones
and
that are nicely
that, you know, less expensive. If someone wants to stage the whole basement and stuff too, of course we'll do that. But we're trying to, you know, that's the minimum recommendation.
So, like for a pre-existing, I mean, like for me, I do a lot of pre-existing ones. So when you go in there, like you see an HD TV, they're like, all right, we're gonna burn all of your furniture and we're gonna make you go buy all new stuff. And I know that's not how you work. I mean, so how do you kind of manage like the homeowner's pre-existing stuff, and then, you know, I know you do an amazing job of what you do.
Yeah, well, of course, we always try to work with the homeowners. Step, we're not out there to, you know, pitch our staging on every single house we go in. So we do our best to work with their furniture. Sometimes we'll suggest, you know, maybe a piece or accessories or something that might complement it better. That would be less expensive. You know, if I really feel that, you know, the furniture is dating the house significantly, you know, then, you know, I'll maybe talk about us maybe staging a couple key rooms or something to help with that.
And then if somebody with an existing home needs a piece here or two, they could get it from
Yeah,
you?
I mean, we do rent out. I don't like to rent out just a sofa.
Sure.
It just doesn't make sense for them cost effective, you know, and for us to, you know, with delivery and all that, they end up spending more than if they just went out and bought a new sofa.
Well, yeah, or you could go to certain stores that have really nice return policies, right? It's
Yeah.
essentially
It's been heard.
I've run into a few situations too where people are like, we're planning on getting rid of this anyways, and they want to buy something for their new house, and then I've made recommendations of, well, maybe just buy your sofa now and let's stage it.
Right.
So,
And then just Craigslist the other stuff.
yeah, and
you're
get rid
kinda
of
set
the old
up.
stuff.
And will you do consultation, like somebody's got a really nice patio, outside stuff too as well?
Yeah, we'll make recommendations to that too, 'cause especially, you know, summertime, that's a big deal for Minnesota to get outside. So we want to be able to showcase the outdoor spaces too.
And then do you have a website where people can see your work? Or how does
Yes,
somebody
it's
hold
on
you?
www.ravishingrooms.com.
And I guess, Dave, maybe you can speak more to this, is to the success, I guess, of some of your listings that have been staged versus maybe sometimes where you've seen them not, like maybe it's a really nice home, but maybe not staged, versus something that's either, like you said, older and is staged and you've had better success with it?
Yeah, you know, and you live and learn. There's been times where I regret not having staging, because what happens is the house typically sits in the market longer. And again, what Jill alluded to earlier, it just feels cold. So even when I've done open houses at vacant homes, you go there and you try to turn the fireplace on to make it feel like there's life in there, but it's really hard. Now, when what Jill and Melissa have done is they've gone to homes that I've seen the pre-staging, and then I see what it looks like when the photos are done, and even the homeowners are like, they're flabbergasted. And I can't tell you how many times I've heard, well, maybe we should stay, or maybe we should just buy our own house. You know, like, of course I'll help them buy their own house.
Sure.
But, you know, so the success of that, it's phenomenal. And the cost, what Jill and what Ravishing Rooms does is so minute to what the return on the home value is. You know, you put a little investment in the beginning, and you're going to get that back hands down when you sell your house. And that may be, you know, a better asking price, faster sale. Because again, even though it is a seller's market, your house still has to look good. And there's still competition out there, particularly in Lakeville. You've got new construction. So you go into an older home, and, you know, and I'm going to ask Jill some questions too about it. But, you know, when you go into an older home, like, what are some of the easiest things they can fix and, you know, to update a home?
Well, the most cost effective is paint and fixtures, like fixtures and even cabinet hardware. I think that's, even though it's a pain to change all of those hinges and whatnot, it can make a huge difference.
And I guess from we talk about a cost standpoint, it's going to cost, if they're going to rent furniture and do things like that, that'll be a cost to the seller. If your real estate agent's any good and really wants to do his or her job, they probably pay for the consultation as part of the service.
Yep, and that's I use Jill and Ravishing Rooms exclusively, so I always pay for the consultation. They come out, and one thing I always recommend is once we sign the contract, really that's the first communication I want done. Is I will marry Jill and the sellers to communicate, because the sooner the seller gets on their to-do list and gets a hold of Jill or any stager, the better off they're going to be. Because if you think you're going to contact me today and say, all right, Dave, we want to list our house tomorrow, and I look at their house, I'm like, no, there's no feasible way. But if you plan out, and I'm not talking days, maybe weeks, months, like we have a house that Jill's been looking at that's coming on in May, that she's already met with them and they're already working on their to-do list. So as a seller, if you have a list of things to do now, how easy it is to work on those lists and chip them away than try to hammer it out in one weekend. And you're going to do a much better job, and your house is going to look that much better.
And especially when that initial consultation is not coming out of your own pocket because your agent's paying for it.
Correct. And it's just going to help your house look better. A good home will look great with awesome staging. And then if you have a professional photographer, it's the trifecta of amazingness. That's what it all takes to make a good house.
And we also have painters and carpet contractors that we work with. So if we recommend carpet or paint, we can get someone in to give you a bid, within that week.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll even recommend the color choice. So we make it pretty simple for you.
All right, perfect. Well, we're running out of time here on the show. We really appreciate you coming by because I think this is some really valuable information for sellers, and it helps obviously make our jobs a lot easier.
Yes.
And then they hear it not coming from us, right? They hear it coming from an actual expert.
Yeah, and Jill and Ravishing Rooms make me look good. That's all I can say.
There you go. Can you do
Well, thanks for
makeovers too?
having me.
Yeah, that's right.
What's that?
Can you do like a personal makeover too?
That's not our specialty.
That's not your specialty.
Ravishing Room / The Swan.
There
Remember
you
that?
go.
Remember that show?
That's yeah.
Everything was just. They just surgically implanted everything on your face, and you're like, oh, okay, you're the Swan.
All right. So Jill, one more time, can you tell us how we can get a hold of you?
You can reach me at 952-217-1361 is my phone number, or you can go to our website, which is ravishingrooms.com, and you can also get our email addresses and all of our contact information on the
Okay,
website.
we'll have your information as well on our website, TwinCitiesRealEstatePros.com. So we do really appreciate you stopping by.
Thank you.
All right, Dave, you got about a minute or so. Anything you want to say before we get out of here? It's a specific setup, wasn't it?
Yeah, thanks for that.
Anything good you got going on? We talked about it a little bit, but anything particular buyer needs you've got out there, or you talked about a listing that you may have coming up?
We're out in Lakeville. We're always looking for listings, and that it just comes down to it. And not just any listing, quality listings. If you have a home that has at least 3 to 4 bedrooms on one level, they're selling really fast. Also, ramblers. Throughout the whole Twin Cities, one-level ramblers, you can't keep them on the market.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, and then kind of real quickly before we get out of here, so you basically refuse to leave. No, that's not true. You're really truly like that's where you live, that's where you love, and that's where you do a lot of your businesses in Lakeville.
Correct.
Yep. And then me, I'm a little more nomadic. I live in Golden Valley. I just sold a listing in Blaine. I've got buyers looking in Savage, Minneapolis, Blaine, all over the place. So Golden Valley. So really, we can kind of help you out anywhere within the Twin Cities.
Yeah, of the Imperial Home Team, there's 7 of us. So we have the whole Twin Cities covered, so that's not a problem.
Okay, so that's going to do it for our show today. We'll have another great show coming up with some more good information for you. Again, thanks to Jill O'Gorman from Ravishing Rooms, our staging expert. We appreciate you joining us. Also, Tom Wambacher was here with RE/MAX Advantage Plus. We want to thank him for his time. For David, I'm Ron. We'll see you next time on the Twin Cities Real Estate Pros podcast. You can check us out online at TwinCitiesRealEstatePros.com. Also on YouTube at ImperialHomeTeam.tv.